Hola guys, que paso? What's going on? This is Hala Pablo. Thank you for tuning in. Let's look at ApeCoin. ApeCoin is I don't know if many of you are interested in it, but it's a project, it's a coin that I have had a lot of interest in ever since it made its appearance on Coinbase. I've been accumulating little by little, not as aggressively as other coins, but it is something that I don't want to neglect the whole NFT thing, especially with the gaming narrative that looks to be revving back up again. ApeCoin climbs 5% as gaming narrative revitalizes social metrics for Ape. So yeah, it's something that I've attuned my ear to with the gaming metrics, the gaming price metrics, and it looks like it's being accumulated as well by informed interests. Um, you don't want to discount this. ApeCoin price forecast presents a buying opportunity before 65% rally. This is what really piques my interest because it is being accumulated, according to my TA, and smart money is absorbing this stuff. How do we know that? It's talking about a 65% rally in this last news thing. Now, this was back in December 16th of last year, and it's still consolidating within a macro falling wedge, which, here's the macro on top. I have it on the daily, and ApeCoin on the 45-minute beneath here in the micro. So these are fractal ranges here. And so here we see on the macro, on the top here, we see this falling wedge, which we could draw out a Wolfe wave here, which I've done theoretically. With Wolfe wave, the 1 and the 4, you should draw a line straight out, and theoretically, the 5 wave, when it does happen to mark up, it at some point will intersect the wave to the top, to this ray, and that's where that would be an ideal area to take profit or sell, as that's where supply would come in and put the brakes on the rally or on the markup. So this hasn't happened yet, but it is being forecasted, and we've had a pretty predictable price action trajectory within it thus far, where we've been able to track the Wolfe wave. And where we are now, the 5 wave has already been drawn out. The 5 wave has been delineated. The question now is, as an investor, I don't think it's going to mark up anytime soon up here. Obviously, that's pie in the sky. I'm not being deluded, and I don't want anyone to think that that's what's going to happen. I think that there's going to be more downward action before that happens. Smart money is going to bring this down deeper. I think we're going to remitigate this low here on 5. How do I know this? Why do I think this? Well, on the macro, we'll go to the micro in a second. On the macro, we're seeing all these demand tests as the price action draws nearer and nearer to the confluence of this wedge. This is what you want to look at here. See, these larger than normal demand spikes are producing failures to rally. This is demand testing if there's any value above the macro trend resistance, and obviously there's not, because the price keeps getting squeezed back into the triangle. All of this harkens onto a bearish sentiment for the short to midterm, at least. Now, on the long term, it's bullish, right? I think it's going to fulfill this Wolfe wave schematic and mark up out of this this falling wedge, and mitigate this Wolfe wave here, but not before more downward action to drown out or to get retail to capitulate. Now, we want to kind of find out when all this is going to happen, how deeply it's going to go. We turn our attention to the macro, or rather to the micro schematic here. And we see here is a fractal range that pretty much resembles this one, in that we have the selling climax, which would be here where we started the 1 wave on this. See, this Wolfe wave is already played out. You see how it's met this 5 wave marked all the way up, and and consummated this Wolfe wave here. We're still waiting for that to happen on the macro, but it's happened on the micro. And we know that when things that happen on the micro are more often than not transpire on the macro given enough time. And then we had this ABC sell-off, and now we're in a rising micro wedge here in opposition to this, or the inversion of this falling macro wedge. And we're looking at the tops of the price action of where it hits the micro trend resistance here. Now remember, we've already looked at the macro, and we have a bearish sentiment overall for price action right now. Now, we look at where the price action is hitting the top of this micro trend. We want to figure out when it's going to drop. First of all, we see that there's three main areas of where this has happened. And we look down and we see what's going on in the volume. Well, the first area, we have very low volume. Right here, if we were going to mark up, we would have higher volume. Instead, we have low demand at this area, that's this key juncture. And then we have a predominating supply spike, which brought it back down. And now we look at the second area here, where the price action hit the micro trend resistance, and we have high demand, but it produced a failure to rally, and the price quickly retraced back down to the micro trend support for a third bounce here. This third area here produced looks like a small devil's horn on the micro, and then we had emerging supply come in to propel the price right back down to make a second bounce on the micro trend support. So this is telling me that there is little value above the micro trend support, the same way that there is little value here above the macro trend support, which harkens onto a bearish projection to short to midterm. Now, which would make this a redistribution. It's good to study redistribution schematics. See, this is one that I did just the other day on Ravencoin to study. We basically have the same thing here. Instead, this triangle here is symmetrical, but you see these areas where the price action has touched the resistance, the trend resistance, 4 areas, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we can go back down here and look and see exactly what's playing out. Here we have supply dominance. Every time the price action hits the resistance, we have large supply bars. And then this third time where it's hit the micro trend resistance, we look down here and we see low demand. So there's a reluctance to mark up above, or there's very, very little value, an incentive for the bulls to push up. And then on the fourth and final one, we see a demand test. See this larger than average, this very large demand spike in volume, and it produced a failure to rally, and the price subsequently fell through trading range midpoint TRM. In this area here, incidentally, we see the price converging, just like we saw on APECOIN, as it's nearing the confluence of this triangle, of this structure. And we have the anchored VWAP on the selling climax, and all of these things together with the volume metrics, we're looking at the bearish bias being established, because the price action, TRM, trend resistance, all of these things converging with the volume being the way it is, no demand, and it just caused it to fall. It fell through the anchored VWAP right here at TRM, this area here near the confluence, and then it fell, and then we had this distribution. So that's really what could happen with APECOIN. Let's see, how do I get back to this? Turn this off and then go back here, and here we are. Okay, so back to APECOIN. So we could see another stab at this, and then a rejection at the macro trend resistance and the micro trend resistance, maybe a fourth one, and then back down to retest these lows. We don't count this part of the range because it's already played out. We've already had the mitigation of the Wolfe wave, and then we had the ABC correction. So we're just interested for this area here, which would amount to this area here fractally. And if this marks down, we could look first of all at remitigating the C in the ABC correction, which would take it to a buck 20, and it could even go further than beyond that before we see the reversal. So around $1.20 would be where you would maybe want to start picking up APECOIN if you're wanting to swing this thing before it reverses engines and begins marking up into the back up into the range, which I think it's going to do. Because once this 5 wave begins marking up after this terminal shakeout, which we're projecting, it's going to be it's going to be pretty hard and fast. So that's where you wake up one morning and you see that ApeCoin shot up 12%, 13%, or whatever, and you're seeing it pumping. It'd be good to be already in place in the rocket ship before it launches, and that's why we do these things. That's why we look to buy. We look for prices that are fixing to rally, and we wait. We don't just jump into it. We wait for the spring. We wait for the fake out, and we get in, and then we ride the deep spring up. And then we calculate where we get out by the Fibonacci extensions. But for now, we're looking to get in and not get out. So that's why I haven't drawn any extensions. So anyway, I hope this helps. If you like this sort of technical analysis, like, subscribe, check out our trading group. I have, like we just talked about, I showed you with the redistribution schematic that we looked at for Ravencoin. I have all kinds of schematics that I share with my group so we could practice pattern recognition and such. Take your trading up to the next level. Learn how to read these patterns and the volume metrics so you can get in, get the best positions, the positions that smart money is getting in. We mirror what they do. We can't beat them, so we join them, and we do what they do. We mirror them. And when they go up, we go up. And when they sell off, we sell off. And we do exactly what and that is the essence of Wyckoff. So learn how to trade the right way, volume, price action. All right, guys, I'm going to go. This is, all right. I didn't go over 15 minutes. So that's a good sign. So anyway, thank you. Yeah, leave a comment. I look forward to hearing from you. I'm going to leave now and drink some more coffee and look at some more charts. And we'll talk to you soon. Adios. Bye-bye.